Oh, I'm an amateur at this so far. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tolinar, and I will be your Overlord today. It is nice to see you all. For the handful, 6-7 people who are actually back from the other videos, my channel was rebooted for a good reason. That reason is, unfortunately, Omega Labyrinth Z will not be coming stateside. It is a big shame. So, in memoriam of our tragic loss, I have the Hong Kong version right here. And we're going to have a playthrough of it. And I'm going to stream the entire experience for everyone. The stream will be divided into 2 parts. I will attempt to translate the cutscenes as best as I can. And you'll all get to deal with a bunch of garbled Japanese, which ought to be fun for pretty much everybody involved. And I'll also actually show you how to play the game and win it. Only one thing will be kept out of the stream, and that would be the various ecchi parts of the game. Unfortunately, I won't be including those. But let's proceed. It is a wonderful game with a very colorful story that we're being denied here in the West. And I think everyone has every right to experience it. So let's go.
Omega Labyrinth Z!
Yeah. We'll jump right in. Now, maybe at some point in the future, we will get a feature for the English subtitles, but right now, the Asia region version just has Japanese and Chinese available as language packs. We can cross our fingers. Maybe there'll be a Kickstarter. If you guys want to support PQube in Kickstarter for a PC version, that would be awesome of you. They are considering it at this time. I can't speak directly as to what their plans are. But another way you can support them, of course, is to check out their other games. I hear Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle is wonderful. And they also recently released, with the help of Inti Creates, Galgun 2. And I've been playing through that. The DLC is a blast for that game. So let's go ahead and drop into Omega Labyrinth Z. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first gameplay video of Omega Labyrinth Z. Here we're going to learn how to play the game. Your character can be controlled using the D-pad or the left stick. The right stick doesn't really do much on this particular screen. The circle button is your attack button. Triangle opens a context menu. You then push a direction to access a command. You can tap X in order to open or close the inventory, and holding it has various effects. The square button reveals the grid. Hold it down, and you can turn your character. There are a couple of other button functions. L1 lets you move diagonally, and R1 opens the ring menu. We'll go over all of this again. I'm just giving you a quick digest of what all the buttons do. R2 will open the log and let you swap between the various tabs using R1 and L1. L2 doesn't really have much of a function at this point. So let's proceed forward. Welcome to the Labyrinth. Omega Labyrinth Z is a game which is born from the same cloth as the Omega, the Shiren the Wanderer series. I'll come back to that. And we're back. The game does cut in throughout the tutorial with cutscenes. I'm just trimming them out of the gameplay video and stockpiling them into the voice acting video, which was just before this one. Isn't that wonderful? So let's continue forward. As I was mentioning, the game is part of the Shiren the Wanderer series, and these games all have a grandfather in an old PC game called Rogue. That is a staircase, and it will take you to the next floor of the dungeon. Before we go, let's talk about the basics. You can see your level in the upper left corner. The meter will gradually turn from black to blue, filling up as you gain experience, and once it's full, you will gain a level. You can see your HP, and the percentage below that is hunger. Every 10 steps you take, it will decrease by a point. Below that is your chest rank, G. It doesn't correlate to cup. No, I suspect Rio is somewhere between a C and a D cup. G indicates the total amount of power that she has accumulated in her chest. And it varies by size, but it's a fairly decent analog. It goes all the way up to Z. In the bottom left, you can see the items currently held. She has nothing in her inventory out of 30 items, and no Omega power. Omega power is kind of like money, but also a form of energy in this game. In the bottom right, you can see the minimap, as well as your current and final floor of the dungeon. This is a 3-floor dungeon. Let's go! What the hell is that? That is not a scarecrow. Look closer, you dipshit. Okay, so we're about to engage in our first combat, and it ain't gonna be very much. Bop. We're done. Alright. So, yeah. Before I was so rudely interrupted yet again by a cutscene. Everything you kill will award you both Omega Power, which pools in the bottom left, and EXP. Now, as your Omega Power builds up, your chest rank will increase, and that will cause all your stats to go up. On the other hand, you'll also gain stats every time your level increases. And there are benefits to both, but you don't have to try to separate them. So let's just get walking. There's an item. Okay, so we're going to get our first item now, and it turns out that it's a health potion. So you can open your inventory by opening the context menu with triangle and pressing up. Or if you don't want to do that, you can tap the X button. You can just tap the X button. I always use the context menu, even though you can just tap the X button. Okay, so here we are sitting around with our health potion in our pocket. And we can do the various things with it. We can drink it. We can throw it. We can put it into a bag if we have one. Or we can drop it on the ground. If we drop an item on the ground, well, it ends up on the ground, and we can pick it up again later if we need to. Now, health potions, they're pretty self-descriptive if you can, read English. This thing clearly heals 50% of your HP. But it has a rule that harkens all the way back to the grandfather game of Rogue. If your HP is full and you drink a health potion, your max HP will increase by 5. Check it out. Now, in these sorts of games, as long as you are not starving, when you take a step, you'll heal some HP, usually 1. There we go. As you can see, I'm gradually healing my health back up as I walk. It's a little slower than 1 per step because it's actually 1% of your health per step. So I'm healing a bit slow because I don't have 100 HP yet. There's some gear on the ground. Let's go ahead and grab all that. That is a sword, a shield, and a bra. Yep. So we can equip this stuff, select it, and the top option is to equip. We can throw it or put it on the ground as well. And you can equip it from here, or you can press triangle and press left to access the character sheet. From here, you can unequip gear or equip it. There we go. As well as check out set effects. Now here we have a beginner sword and a beginner shield. Matching them up generates a set effect of +3 max HP. Check it out. I'm doing pretty good. You are limited to 4 pieces of equipment. 1 sword, 1 shield, and a bra and panties. You want to put this stuff on because it takes it out of your bag. See, my bag is empty again. Bag space is very limited in Wanderer-type games. You only have 30 slots. This is an improvement from the original game Rogue, where you had as much space as you could possibly use. In Wanderer-type games, you have a limited bag, and you need to ration your bag space carefully. It's very important you learn to do this. Let's get going. By now, you've noticed that every 10 steps I take, I am losing hunger. Okay, so if I walk, eventually my hunger ticks down a point. When it gets to 0, I'll start starving, and instead of my HP increasing with every step, it will drain instead. So let's try to get through the dungeon before we starve to death, shall we? Okay, we're going into a serious combat this time, and I'm going to take this opportunity to discuss some different features of the game. You can press square to face an enemy. I'm going to go ahead and hold down L1. I mentioned this earlier, but L1 forces you to move diagonally. If you don't want to risk moving orthogonally, you can move diagonally using this. It's very important you control your motion in this sort of game, because you'll get hit if you end a turn next to an enemy. You move, and then all the enemies move according to speed. So when I move to the lower left here in a moment, the bird that is closest to the middle is going to be able to hit me once. The other birds will be forced to chase me. Now, when you are struck, you will automatically face the enemy that hit you, but you can face the other enemies by tapping square. You can also hold square down to change your direction. None of this matters, though, when you're just moving. You'll move in whatever direction you press. It mainly affects which way you swing your weapon. Again, I'm going to hold down L1 and move around the bird. And we're going to come down here. There we go. Notice the enemies stay with me. Diagonal movement is generally superior to orthogonal movement in this sort of game, but there are advantages and disadvantages to each. You'll find yourself moving all over. Alright. This pinata here is rigged. In the first time through the tutorial, it will give you a massive wave of experience and power, and I want it now. Great. Now. There we go. And the power surge causes you to gain a chest rank. Ranking up your Omega power refills your HP, and they damaged me again because they're little shits. I'm going to go ahead and activate my superpower in a minute here. You can do that using the ring menu, and I'll show you how. Once you gain an Omega rank, you gain access to your Omega power, which is awesome. This game uses a combo system. I just defeated a scarecrow. When you start defeating the third and fourth enemy in a single combat, the EXP and benefits you gain will gradually increase. So let's go ahead and activate our bonus. And I gain a big surge of power. Good for me. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and knock one bird down. Note that I get 60 EXP, but I don't gain Omega power. The reason for this is I'm currently using my Omega power. When I use the Omega power, I lose access to the gain of Omega power. So I have to wait for the bonus to wear off now. And it's taking its time. It's a pretty strong bonus. Still channeling. Still channeling. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and hit that thing. Note that I got 66. This one's gonna give me more XP, 72. And I started getting Omega power since I used up my charge. Alright. Gonna go ahead and grab that bread, and we'll get going. I'm not interested in eating a piece of bread on camera. Alright. Game feature. By holding down the X and square button, you can dash over the length of a tunnel. Great. That is a rock. Throwing items is a very big part of Shiren the Wanderer type games. The game wants me to show you how to throw items. Instead, I'm going to show you how to deal with different types of enemies. Bestiary. This is a turtle. Turtles only move every other turn. They have 40 HP. So ideally, you want to hit them and move away. Now the question is, did you do more or less than 13 damage? If you did more than 13 damage, then you can hit it and kill it with your third swing. Otherwise, you'll have to continue kiting it. There we go. Alrighty, let's get going. If you only do 13 damage, you need to hit, step away, and then hit it twice more, because it'll still have at least 1 HP left. Here it's going to force you to use L1 to shift around the pillar. Now let's talk about traps. Traps are hidden on the ground. There are traps hidden in front of me. There are 2 ways you can discover a trap aside from using magic or something. Step on it. Oh, it didn't go off. I got lucky. Or attack it. If you attack a trap, it will be revealed. Now watch me step on this trap and trigger it. Ahem. Watch me step on this trap and trigger it. I got shot by an arrow that did a fixed 20 damage. Not much fun. You can heal back your health by holding down X and pressing circle. Circle, when holding X, causes you to step in place. Square causes you to dash. They're both time savers, but anyways, let's regenerate. Notice how fast my HP is refilling. I get 1 HP per step now, because I'm over 100 HP, right? So it was refilling that quickly because I was spending turns that fast. Alright, that's pretty much everything that we need to know for this first dungeon. Alright, now you have probably noticed that floors 1 to 3 of this dungeon are pretty contrived. That's because they are all set pieces. You can return to these dungeons at your leisure after completing the first couple of sections. They will always have the exact same items in them for Dungeon 1. The next part of the tutorial will be Dungeon 2. Let's go. This is the results screen. In the upper right, that number 6294 happens to be my score. You can get a better score by finishing faster, collecting more items, taking less damage, and basically kicking ass. I'm not wearing panties. The bottom of the screen shows the goals. If you can clear all the goals for a given mission, then you will be able to unlock a CG from the original Omega Labyrinth game. That's right, they included all of those CGs, and you can feast your eyes on them if you can complete all the missions. So what does this one say? Well, these can be tricky. Again, it sure would be nice to have a translator, but I think I've got a bead for this one. The first quest of the dungeon is clear the dungeon. The second one says collect 1 beginner's sword. And the third one says collect 1 beginner's shield. The next one says kill 6 enemies. And the 5th one says use a health potion. And the 6th one is tricky. It says kill 2 enemies at the same time. For that, we're probably going to need some outside help. Or maybe a bit of magic. So, this is the first actual dungeon. It lets you know... Oh, that's what they were talking about. Okay, so if you die in a dungeon, then the dungeon simply throws you out. You'll be just fine. You'll lose all your items, mind you. But you don't lose the game because you die in a dungeon. It's not that kind of game. In fact, later on, you're probably going to die quite a bit in the dungeons. Being a good player is the only way to rectify this. Okay, now the scarecrows are moving. In this game, unlike other roguelike simulators and other Wanderer games, you cannot corner cut. That is to say, you cannot move across a corner. See, it's not letting me go. And you cannot attack through a corner. I can target, but my swing will always miss. See? Now I can kill it. So corner cutting is out for this game. Now the posts that are standing up, they're different. You can go ahead and cut those. I'll go ahead and show you. I'm going to take your best shot, Buster. So I can start snaking around it. He doesn't want me to do it. It's like, stop that. Okay. Got a couple rocks. Good stuff. There's a weapon. You're in the way. Thank you. The original Rogue had a 3x3 layout. That is to say, a tic-tac-toe layout of rooms connected by hallways. This made the shape a little on the predictable side, but it was a structure that was adopted by many Wanderer games. This one included. Ooh, this one dropped an item for us. It looks like it's a health potion. You will have to get used to items. In the original Rogue, items didn't have names or descriptions. Well, there were descriptions, but they were vague ones. You had to figure out what the items did, and then keep track of it yourself. Here, it's something similar. You're going to have to figure out what all the items do. this is a good sword, so I'll equip that. This is not as good a sword. See how it has an attack of only 3 instead? Here's the magic scroll. No telling what it does, although I have a guess. And here's a health potion. So let's get going. Okay. Got another piece of equipment. I've got enough gear. Now, if you look at the mini-map, the red X's indicate hazards. The blue triangle indicates the stairs. And red circles indicate enemies. What then is that green diamond? The green diamond is an item. Look behind the pillar. There's a rock there. 3 of them, in fact. Now, as you venture around the dungeon, any room that you are not currently in can spawn new monsters, meaning that I can hang out here for quite some time and farm, and I will always find more monsters to kill. Let's go take a look at this hazard. Now, this is one of the least harmful hazards in the game. It's basically the tutorial hazard. When you step in a puddle of water, there is a small chance that you will slip and drop your items. Doesn't always happen, but then you'll have to gather them up again. Real nuisance, that. Okay, here we go. Let me kill that one also. We're going to hang out on this stage for a while. Oh, there's an item back there. Get out of the way. Oh, no. There we go. Potion. You can hang out on stages, therefore, and just grind for as long as you're interested in. Until the pink wind blows. The pink wind is a warning. You are running out of time. First the wind blows pink, and then it blows red. When it blows red, you have very little time left, and then something wicked this way comes. You will not survive, especially early on, so this is your cue to take your leave. Alright, so I got a scroll. Inventory carries over, and level does not. So I had my level reset to 1, and my cup size is back down to G. As you can see, I can't access my super. You can use it once every time your rank goes up. Okay, let's take a look over here. Kill that thing. Kind of got to explore around, see what you can find. Anything good here? Oh, we've stumbled into a labyrinth section. Sometimes small mazes generate instead of rooms. These small mazes tend to be pretty easy to navigate, but enemies get caught in them very easily. So more often than not, you'll find something hazardous floating around this thing. There we go. Grab a rock. I might throw a rock just to show you how it's done, but I like my rocks. I like saving my rocks. Maybe we'll throw something other than a rock. You can throw lots of things in this game. Being creative with what you throw is important. Oh, look, a bird. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's just a bird. All right. Got a level. Pretty good. Let's get going. Okay, so we actually won't run into un-ID'd items for a while longer. That was just a tutorial item. We're going to wander around. We don't have too much further to go. Hey, look, it's our friend the turtle. Remember how to deal with him? Well, when they wake up, you don't know whether or not it's going to attack you. If you're tough enough to take the hit, then you can do that. The safe way is to step away. If they don't move, they move next turn. If they do move, well, now you've got a free turn. Sure enough, if I had just swung at it as I walked up, he would have bit me. Am I doing more or less than 13? More, so I can kill him in 2 hits now. There we go. This thing is substantially less dangerous. See? Scarecrows are worth almost no money, or points, or anything really. That time, the turtle was not up on its turn. There we go. Combo effect. And I got a bra. I think it might be better than the one I've got on. Let's check it out. When you get a lot of clutter in your inventory, you can press the square button to organize. Yep, it's better. I'll use this one instead. You want to hoard items as much as possible, especially if you're a power player and your objective is to get as much going as you possibly can. Oh, look. This shield is more powerful than the one I've got, but it's also cursed. I don't think I'll equip it. I was just notified that my stomach is grumbling. As you can see, I'm below 60%. If I eat a bread, I'll regain quite a bit, 60%, and I'll also regenerate 20 HP, which is pretty useful in a pinch. Instead, let's drink a potion. Drinking potions in this sort of game is really sort of a gamble, especially since we can't read the labels. If this were a nice, clear English, which would be wonderful if it were translated, we'd know which is which, but we don't. So, this one, I'm pretty sure, is just water. If you drink a potion, then you will gain 2% fullness. So I can pump myself back up to 41% here. Great. Let's try drinking a different potion. I wonder what this one does. I have 2 of them. That is a potion of sleep. It just knocked me out for 5 turns. Could be handy. Watch this. Rather than drink it, let's throw it at our enemy. And now the turtle is asleep. Hitting it will wake it up. An easy way to gain the sente, the turn advantage. That is something mysterious. I have no idea what that does. Let me squint at it and try desperately to translate it. It says, physical attack weakening draft. So this is a potion that weakens your physical attack for 10 turns. That's what I think, anyways. I could be wrong. Sometimes I have a great deal of trouble trying to interpret these items, which is just more fun for me, I guess. Come here, birdie. Let's talk about sente, turn advantage. Generally speaking, when the number of steps between you and the enemy are even, it's safe to move towards it. If the number of steps are odd, then you will advance next to it and it will get to attack you for free. Here, the number of steps are even, so I can walk right up to it. If the number of steps were odd, there was a risk it would bite me. The best way to adjust the turn is to simply swing at nothing. Attack once, and the enemy will approach while you don't, and that will fix the alignment between you and the enemy. Pretty basic stuff, but these are things that every person who plays this sort of game should know. Right? So it's letting you know that you can do the thing to activate the thing. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Note how just swinging as fast as you can make your moves very suboptimal. Oh, look, a rock. I'm very tempted to throw it at Urara. Oh, look, panties. Kind of tempted to put them on. Let's throw the rock instead. So I promised to demonstrate how to throw stuff. Let's throw a rock. To throw a rock, you can select throw from the menu, but you can also use the ring menu. Hold down R1 and tab over. Here we are. All right. Throwing. Let's just go save her now. Sorry, I gotta cut this out. Alrighty. Well, before we conclude the stream, I'll show you around the main menu. As my last action of the tutorial, the leftmost icon is the store, which is closed. The next icon over is synthesis, which is closed. The next icon is item identification, which is closed. On the right side, we have the archives. The top tab shows you the various girls that you have encountered in the plot. That's nice. Next tab down shows you how long you've been playing, the top character level you've achieved, the amount of WP you've total amassed, and so forth, various stats. as well as all the CG that you've managed to unlock of the various types, all the conversations that you've managed to hear of the various types, and the CG from previous game Omega Labyrinth. Here you can see I've got 5 of the 6 missions done for the first one. That's great. I'm not going to put too much effort into unlocking CGs for this playthrough. I'm going to focus on gaining power rapidly and show you how to do that. Here you can view an item dictionary, which is only useful if you really read Japanese, which I don't. And here, a monster dictionary. At least you can see what's going on with them. These little bugs have got 2 HP, so it's not very dangerous. Turns out scarecrows have 21. You can view how much HP things have, the data on them. Birds have 9 HP. They have a high evasion rate, and they're pretty accurate as well. You can view a 3D model of enemies and allies. And also, from the character select screen, you can tap L2 to access viewable portraits, which you can then zoom in and out on. By the way, I wanted to mention this earlier, but it wasn't the best of times. You can actually use the touch screen. See the sparkle? I'm directing it with my finger. It is in an absolute ratio with the screen. So, if you touch the screen, it'll move around. You can't drag over anything or click to have a major effect. But if you tap directly on the right spot, then yeah, you can harass the girls. You can even do this during cutscenes or in the middle of a dungeon, poke them in the portraits. Be as much of a jerk as you want. There's no real limitations on when or how you do it. Just sort of give them a good jab. That's nice. So yeah, that's the archives. This is the item system. Here you can access your item bag, and by pressing L or R, also access the item storage. You can select items and send them over to the other side or equip them. Here I equipped a sword, I equipped that sword. Square swords, just like your other bag. Let me throw this on over to the other side, and now we can see there's a sword over here. We currently only have 60 item storage. You can hold down triangle to drag over items and select them all. Let's put everything in storage for now. I'm not going to need any of these items for a bit. Okay, looking pretty good. Here we can view the girls' profiles. We can get more information on their stats here, as well as the gear they currently have equipped. You can equip things from the bag or from storage. Here we've got this set on. All the items we gathered with Rio have been transferred, thank goodness, or we wouldn't have any items. These are technically Urara's panties, but we're going to put them on. We've managed to get the set bonus, so that's 5 HP and 3 HP here. And that's all great stuff. If we unlock other girls, we'll be able to tab left and right. As you can see, Aina's chest rank is B. It is much lower than Rio's chest rank was. She is a weaker character to start out, so you have to be a little more careful. Watch your HP a little closer. It also means, however, that her chest rank increases faster. So she will rank up more often and have access to her Omega power more often if she has need for it. And lastly, there's the dungeon gate. We'll check that out in a minute. L2 lets you take a quick look at your fairy friend in the same way as all the other L2 taps. And R2 grants you this screen, which is the options. Going from the top, this adjusts how quickly text displays itself, the background music, sound effect, and voice tracks. If you have other fairies that you can use for navigators, they can be selected here. Here you can select alternate home screen characters. This includes any DLC you've purchased. I just happen to have a piece purchased, and it's the swimsuit version of the shopkeeper. We still haven't seen the shopkeeper though, so we're going to keep that from being displayed spoiler-tastic, eh? By pressing square, you can read some legal bullshit that no one really cares about. The topmost option resets all these things to the default. This is for cloud saving and loading if you happen to have a PlayStation Plus subscription. And this command must never be selected. Stay away from it, because while you might want to save your game, this action will delete your save. We will go into saving and loading in more detail in the next video. In particular, you can press X to exit out to the main menu at any time, and your game saves as you go, so you don't have to worry about losing your progress. But if you press R2, you can delete your save, so be careful with that. Let's go to the dungeon gates. From here, we can view the dungeons that are available to us and go into any of them at any time. If we want to go into that very fixed 3-floor tutorial stage, we can do so from here. There's a description which is worthless unless you can read Japanese. Here, you can view the best scores that you've achieved, including shortest time, top level, and all that good stuff. And here, we can view the clear requirements. The medal turns gold when you manage to clear all the missions. If you remember, we need to kill 2 enemies at once to get the last piece of this quest. I'm not going to focus on getting those, though. There is no in-game reward for achieving these missions. For the dungeon that just opened up, the goals are to clear it, bring a certain weapon and a certain armor out in one piece, as well as another item, kill 25 enemies, and have a chest rank of G. Okay, so that's all great. The 4th one, we went over that one last time. So that's how you use the different screens and how it all works. Generally speaking, when you want to set up for a round, you'll need to carry certain items over. Make sure your characters are well equipped. It is a good idea to bring along health potions, so I'm going to grab some of those. A piece of bread or 2 is always a good idea, so we'll grab one of those. You want to have as many rocks as you can for the most part. They're very effective weapons, especially for the stage coming up. Now, I pretended that I didn't know what this does, but I do. This is a map scroll. And map scrolls are very useful, so I want to bring this one with me as well. I want at least 2 map scrolls. So, right, there we go. I need more items to do what I want to do next. So, between this video and the next video, I'm going to do a little bit of grinding. I'm going to collect up a full bag of items, a full storage. Fill this to the brim with junk. And mostly do it by running mission 3 over and over and over again. However, I am going to visit mission 4 and find another map scroll. Once I have at least 1 more map scroll, I'll just run through mission 3 because it always has the exact same items in it. That being a beginner's sword, a beginner's shield, a beginner's bra, a piece of bread, a health potion, and a pile of rocks. 2 of them, in fact. Somewhere between 2 and 8 rocks is what you get each time. And I'll just collect those things over and over again. The weapons that you get will have random mods. You can acquire things that are very powerful. This came from Stage 4, though. Stage 4 has random layouts and different items. So, depending on what you want to do, you can grind those missions a whole bunch. There is a major benefit to bringing a large pool of rocks into Stage 3. Stage 3, in fact, is one of the best places to grind for Omega power. But we'll come to that in the next video. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time.